Have you ever tried to speak English and suddenly your mind becomes very slow? You know the words, you know the grammar, but when you start speaking, your brain does something strange. First, you think in your language, then you translate the sentence, then you check the grammar, and only after all that, you finally say the sentence. By that time, the conversation has already moved on, and you feel frustrated. But here is the truth. Your English is not slow. Your translation habit is slow. Today I want to show you how to stop translating in your head and start thinking in English naturally. And trust me, once you understand this, everything becomes easier. But first, I want to ask you something. Do you translate in your head when speaking English? Write yes in the comments if this happens to you. You are definitely not alone. Part 1. Why translating is the biggest problem. Let's imagine something simple. You want to say this sentence, I went to the store yesterday. If you translate in your head, this is what your brain does. Step 1. You think the sentence in your native language. Step 2. Your brain searches for English words. Step 3. You check the grammar. Step 4. You finally say the sentence. This process is very slow, but native speakers do something completely different. They don't translate. They think directly in English. For example, when a native speaker says, I need coffee, they are not translating from another language. The sentence appears automatically, like a reflex, like breathing. And this is the real goal when learning English. Not translating, but automatic thinking. Now here's an important question for you. When you speak English, do you feel that your brain is working too hard? Tell me in the comments. I read your comments and they help me understand what you need. Part 2. Why translation feels safe. Now you might be thinking, but translating helps me understand. And yes, that is true. Translation can help in the beginning, but later it becomes a problem. Because translation creates a wall between you and the language. You are not speaking English. You are speaking your language and then converting it. It's like using a calculator for every small math problem. Eventually, your brain stops learning. Let me give you an example. Imagine you see a dog. A native speaker thinks instantly, dog. But if you translate, your brain does this. See dog, think in your language, translate, say dog. This extra step slows everything down. That is why many learners say, I understand English, but I cannot speak. The problem is not vocabulary. The problem is thinking process. Your brain is still operating in the old language system, and the good news, you can train your brain to change. Part 3. The first step to thinking. In English, the first step is surprisingly simple. Stop building long sentences. Instead, start with small ideas. For example, instead of saying, yesterday I went to the supermarket because I needed some vegetables for dinner, start with small thoughts. Yesterday, I went to the supermarket. I bought vegetables. Short sentences are powerful. Why? Because your brain learns to react faster. Fluency is not about speaking long sentences. Fluency is about speaking quick ideas. Let me ask you something interesting. When you speak your native language, do you think about grammar? Of course not. You simply speak. That is the same goal in English. And this is why listening to English stories helps so much. Your brain begins to recognize patterns, not translations. Patterns. Part 4. Train your brain with simple observations. Here is a very powerful exercise. Look around your room and describe things in English. For example, there is a chair. The window is open. My phone is on the table. These are simple sentences, but something amazing happens. Your brain begins to connect objects directly to English words, without translation. This is exactly how children learn languages. They see an object, they hear the word, and slowly the connection becomes automatic. Try this exercise for just 5 minutes every day, and you will notice something interesting. Your brain starts producing English faster. Not perfect, but faster. And speed is the first step to fluency. Part 5. Why listening is the secret. Another powerful way to stop translating is listening. When you listen to English stories, your brain cannot translate every sentence. The speech is too fast, so your brain starts doing something new. It begins to understand meaning directly, not word by word, but idea by idea. That is exactly why stories are such a powerful learning tool. You learn vocabulary, you learn rhythm, you learn natural sentence patterns, and slowly your brain becomes more comfortable with English. So here is a small challenge for you. Listen to English every day, even if you understand only 50%. Your brain is still learning. Part 6. The moment when fluency changes. Something interesting happens when you practice enough. One day you suddenly notice something strange. You start thinking things like, I need water, or this movie is interesting. And you didn't translate. The thought appeared directly in English. That moment is very important because it means your brain is creating a second language system, not translation, a new system. This is exactly how bilingual people think. 2 languages, 2 systems, and with practice, switching becomes easy. Now I want to ask you something again. What language do you usually translate from? Write your language in the comments. For example, Spanish, Arabic, Polish, Hindi. I am always curious where you are learning English from. Part 7. The biggest mistake. English learners. The biggest mistake learners make is this. They wait until their English is perfect before speaking. But fluency does not come from perfection. Fluency comes from practice and mistakes. When you stop translating, your sentences might feel simple, maybe even childish, but that is completely normal. Remember, a child learns language with simple sentences first, and slowly those sentences become more complex. Fluency grows step by step, not instantly. Conclusion. So remember these 3 ideas. First, stop building long sentences in your head. Think in short ideas. Second, train your brain by describing simple things around you. Third, listen to English stories and conversations every day. These habits slowly teach your brain to think in English. And when that happens, speaking becomes easier, faster, and much more natural. If this video helped you understand why translating slows your English, please write this in the comments. I will stop translating. It might sound simple, but writing it makes your brain remember the idea. And if you enjoy learning English through listening and real examples, don't forget to subscribe. There are many more English listening and speaking videos coming soon. And remember, your English is not bad. Your English is still growing. Just keep going.